Hey, I'm Abigail, your favorite interior designer. Welcome back. If you are new here, where have you been? I have missed you and you have missed out as well. So yeah, make sure you subscribe and watch more of my videos. Press the notification button so you don't miss one. And please also follow me on Instagram as well, where I do other types of content like these. Now, this video is going to be very interesting. I have done my research and also some of it is from my experience I've had with clients. And it's really about having that intel into what their personality traits are and their cultural background and how that influences their decor and interior design style, so that it really resonates with them and they feel comfortable and content in their space. It's also long lasting, it stands the test of time, because when something is kind of like allowing you to evoke certain emotions that you like, you're more sustainable to be in that space for a longer period, rather than going with something that you are kind of being influenced by what's happening around you, such as trends. I'm going to be narrowing it down into 5 main factors. So this will help you to determine what your interior design style is, what really does resonate with you. Also, it may be a thing where you are upgrading or upscaling your home and you want to be a little bit different and you don't know what else to bring in the space. This may help you to define what direction you should go in. Now, we all know about color psychology when it comes to interiors and how color can really evoke certain emotions in us. Emotions that we want to really gear towards and emotions that we want to stay away from. And there's reasons why certain colors do things for different people. It's about the psychological responses that we have with certain colors. It may evoke a feeling that brings some psychological trauma, or also it may also evoke some level of excitement. Certain colors do that for everybody, such as like your bright bold colors such as red, green, yellow, your primary base colors. Ultimately, they bring some energetic kind of vibe to the space, that energy. It brings a level of excitement as well with it. So if, for example, if you go to like fast food restaurants and things like that, they will bring those type of colors in there because they want you to feel very energized and very like rush, you're on a hurry, you're getting your fast food and you're out, that type of thing. Whereas maybe perhaps if you go to a restaurant where it has that more cozy vibe, it wants you to be very relaxed, maybe perhaps romantic, they may tone down the colors and bring some more subdued, moody elements to it as well, such as your black, brown, and there'll be some ambient lighting as well in there. So it's just really softening the whole aesthetics of that room, because it wants you to have those feelings when you're in those spaces. Now, how do you want to feel in your space? What feelings or emotional connections do you want to bring? This is why it has to be done very carefully in the type of colors that you bring. I would even say that people that go for more neutral based colors often does reflect their personality. They tend to be people that are a bit more introverts. They love that calm kind of nature. They're very kind of into themselves, and they want a space where they can feel very relaxed and subdued. Some people are in the middle. They still want to have those feelings, but they are extroverts, and sometimes they may want to kind of push boundaries a little bit and test a different level of experience by going with a bold color such as like black, brown, something that's a bit more dominant in there as well. And I personally love that, and I feel like I'm in between. I am kind of an introvert, but I do like spaces that are going to bring some type of energy to me, that's going to rejuvenate me and excite me and bring some interest. Along with color, we're also going to think about in terms of your patterns and materials. Now, a lot of that can also bring in some kind of cultural influence in there as well, such as if going for more very intricate designs and patterns may resonate with your cultural background. For example, I'll show some pictures. If you are from an Asian background, these type of patterns are very relatable to that. Or if you're from like an Afro-Caribbean, you may bring many type of bright colors in there as well with these type of shades, and these things really does resonate with your cultural background. However, tying it into your cognitive load as your personality, you may like these colors, but as a person, if you're an introvert, you may not want it in its prominence. So you may probably go with this in a very slight term. So maybe having the patterns on maybe one wall, maybe like a wallpaper as a statement wall, and that is alone is enough for you. Or maybe bringing it within your soft furnishings, because if it's too visually busy for you, it will overstimulate you, perhaps put you off, and it can then evoke some negative feelings towards that. Whereas if you're an extrovert and you love that kind of like energetic vibes, and you want that kind of visual stimulation for you because that keeps you going, and that's the kind of person that you are. So definitely think about those things when you're thinking about personality and cultural influences in there in terms of your design style and colors. The next thing we're going to talk about is gender. Now, with gender, often with society, we're going all the way back. When we think of a boy, we think of blue. When we think of a girl, we think of pink. So femininity, oh, you know what I mean, is sometimes kind of related to like airy, soft colors, such as your pink and, you know, those type of things, like the neutral kind of bases. And then when we're thinking of masculinity, we're thinking of bold, strong colors in those spaces, like your gray, your blacks, your deep browns. Those type of colors really does kind of influence where you're from, what gender you are. But sometimes people, especially interior designers, when they're decorating certain spaces, thinking about the gender that the person is, they may want to, obviously depending on the client, what they want, go with that as their forefront and influencing the design style. But I would say if you're living in a mixed gender home, it's probably best to kind of combine both things together. It just shows a level of respect for each gender role, and it really does bring a good collaboration, and it's sustainable as well. For example, like in a nursery, if you go for more of a gender neutral theme nursery, then it's good, like if you do have another child in future, you can use the same level of decor in there, and it's transitional, and this is how it becomes sustainable because you're not flipping the whole room and upscaling it for another gender. It also just brings the element of quite timeless as well, I would say, and it doesn't really relate to a particular trend that is, society would say, dominance in that gender role. So yeah, I would definitely kind of bring everything together and really let it complement each other, dependent on or not dependent on the gender role that you are in. I touched on this previously, but I want to tie this in a little bit more in terms of bringing in your upbringing and your history. Now, if you are from like an English history, back in the day, they were using a lot of molding, and now we can see that really transitioning into our current styles, and it really does resonate with that. I would say, like, if you go to another country, I'm here in London, that's why I'm talking like this, but if you go to another country, they won't use that design style because it doesn't really fit in with what is happening environmentally in that space. So you'll see that, you know, the environmental factors will influence the type of design style you will go for in your room. Now, if you did want to bring a different level of culture from something that doesn't even resonate with you, but you like that, into your space, you can do that, but also do it with some slight kind of unintentional theme to it, so it's not so prominent. Like, you don't want to walk in a space and feel like you're in that country. Unless that's your intention, then that's absolutely fine, but you can bring in different elements of it as well. And I'll give you an example so it makes sense. So for example, if you like the kind of Scandinavian style, the European style, they tend to go with more light woods, like for example statements like your olive trees, and various different styles, as you can see in these pictures, really does resonate with that kind of Mediterranean feel. If you're going for more like of a dominance of Afrocentric, you may want to bring in some more darker walnut woods, deeper colors, a little bit of rustic in there as well. Again, if you're going for like a Moroccan vibes, you know, you're bringing in the rattan and the, you know, the really rustic feel to it. It really does resonate with those type of cultures, and that's if it resonates with you, that you go with that interior design style. If not, after a while, when you've passed that season, it won't connect with you and you will disconnect with that style, and then you'll be thinking about what's next, and that's not what bringing in the sustainability that we want and need. Also, with our upbringing, what you've been used to when you were younger or growing up, you may want to bring that into your space because it just brings that sense of belonging. It helps you to feel very content and grounded and also secure. So you may probably come from a background or a home where it was very chaotic and very busy, and although that might not be your personality, you want to kind of move away from that and bring some minimalism and calmness, because maybe you're growing up with like 6 brothers and sisters and it was just quite a lot, and now you just want to bring kind of that kind of peace, zen vibe. That's absolutely fine, but maybe you want to bring that little bit of element of busyness, perhaps maybe in your texture. So instead of going with like plain kind of flat walls. Maybe you can put in some textures to your walls, so you're not doing it too much. It's not so prominent in there, but it's subtly bringing in some kind of level of visual interest, cognitive load to your brain, so that you can connect that to your past and your upbringing. That's only if you had a good upbringing. You want to bring that connection, because of course psychological trauma is real, and you may not want to evoke those feelings that resonates with that. So that's absolutely fine. But if you did, these are the ways you can kind of bring it in subtly without it looking too much. There is a whole aspect about cultural interiors, and I read this online, that the cultural interior design is an incorporation of global design elements, focusing on the influences that global aesthetics and originality brings to the design. So there is a whole kind of aspect about it. So it really is interesting how you can bring those different connections into your space and interior design. And I do always allow that to influence the design that I build for my clients as well. So have a think about it yourself. Like, are you bringing a little bit of yourself into your space, and how does that sit with you? Does it make you feel connected, or does it repel from you? And these are the kind of feelings and thoughts that you want to bring, and this is also an intel as to who you are as a person, and that how that reflects in your home. Interesting, right? So let's do a little quiz. So look at some of these pictures. What does this tell about the person living there? So does this look like a family home? Perhaps they have 2 or 3 kids in there, very busy, chaotic environment. Or this picture, would you say it's a man or a woman that lives in this space? Or this picture, would you say this person's career is? Are they someone that's into kind of creativeness? Do they have a creative background, or are they a corporate person? Do they work somewhere that's quite busy, or do they work somewhere that's quite calming? Does this person do a lot of traveling, or does this person prefer to kind of stay in their place of origin and really allow that to influence into their design style? So it's really hard to determine, you know, what their home really says about them looking from the outside in. Like, it shouldn't be so prominent, because it just allows the place to have kind of more of a visually ambiguous, and as you walk in, you know, your mind and your eyes are not guided to certain aspects in the home, because when you've looked at that, it's just finished at that point. You want there to be a continued interest as you're in there, and every single time you're bringing in different emotions and different energy as you're in the room, for yourself and also for your guests as well. But yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and I want you to all think about your space and how you can bring a bit of yourself in there. And yeah, think about it when you're designing your space again. Now, I hope that was interesting. Hope you'll come back for more videos. There was a lot of information to take in, but I hope I made it clear enough. And yeah, I will see you next week in another video. Bye.